Good evening, salot ina edladot ba kuthalant no halhunta tidauti. Denedit ila jadarunyo. But Nezun, welcome. No habaho on the sun do Tuesday evening, doing Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday saga 28 ul jala Eshjene July 1st Canada Day huni through this week torrent a celebration and that's a deha. But anyway, says Z si Willis Janvier who shown the la nintin telas tours in La Loche, Saskatchewan, Clearwater River Dene Nation band member the history and doon zinige treaty for territorials in no halun tati dana. Ani thelelant at let's Sunday zinc at Hondinesh jai Tezen Z Juresh Chinati Yao Utu Senenizen Clearwater a few days neither and Harelyanle de Gare and Gabide da Rosalita Sani Berseth a Bahalias Tias and Gabi. So Gabin Dana Igana through Yede, check it out. But for tonight they do not Devin Buffalo Huliet Chala Musquatcheese, I'm gonna say he's from. Maybe if he nods his head in the back. But obviously, Devin, he's a Cree man, and he's from the South Ivy League school line. They're law boss at Dartmouth College hockey, SNI, and totally see it either racism and konti see in mana yase professional sports bits in honni bagarit and most importantly doing they see abanenen in jouts in their one ska athletics not u goalie sa kuhadon el tana a bahalias tia and hopefully maybe dok and honnensi at hinnens at the maybe they can look into it sa kuhanunt aiha don't you see it? Sa kuhanal tana goalie, si goalie lila online and nisse don't u hasen time. I'm very thankful, but don't u hasen time then instantly naga, but konti ho and niasan back in the day and the hurrish tiondala. But doing zinik a bahalyas too and questions, what's in it, the don't be shy, so yeah, must see her do no halon tadu. Yeah, yeah, we'll get this going here, and Devin Buffalo is joining us here this evening. Dance Atlantic Devin Buffalo.
Dance, thanks for having me on tonight. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on my show here tonight, and I'll just ask you to introduce yourself for the listeners here tonight, there, Devin.
Yeah, my name's Devin Buffalo. I'm from Samson Cree Nation. Currently, I'm in Edmonton, and yeah, I'm a retired goaltender. Played, I think, I graduated college hockey in 2018, and took a couple or had 1 year professional hockey in 2018 to 19, and came back home, and now I'm attending law school. So, yep, started Wanska camps that we'll be talking about tonight, and so yeah, it's a little bit about myself.
Yeah, cool, good stuff. Were you a goalie your whole life? I know you played net now. How did that start for you? Hockey and Samson Cree is Musquatcheese. It's the bands put together, right? Correct.
Yeah, it's one of the four. There are four bands.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about little Devin Buffalo and growing up playing hockey. How that led to playing an Ivy League school.
Yeah, for sure. Growing up, I have five older brothers. Um, I think at one point, the six of us, five of us were goalies for one season. And when I was younger, in novice or pre-novice, I was a player, loved scoring goals, and I wanted to kind of set my own path. I hated being goaltender, but that was when they put you in net and they give you a goalie stick, and that's it. And I'd rather score goals, and it wasn't until the springtime after in the springtime, Native Provincials came up, and my dad purchased some used goalie equipment from the local store, and wanted me to try goalie for Native Provincials big tournament here in Edmonton, and so I played with Musqueam and tried my first tournament. And looking back at it, I remember just a young age, I was already having troubles with being blamed for letting goals in and being blamed for the losses. So when winter season came back, I was actually playing my minor hockey in Wetaskiwin, just outside the reserve, and our goalie moved away, and we needed a goalie, and I still had the gear and hopped back in the net, and really never looked back from then. And I always struggled with that, growing the thick skin to be a goaltender. Goaltender is a tough job, as you know, and it's the toughest, but I think there's things that we just love about it, and the passion that it's almost like an individual. You're back there in the net and with your own thoughts, so you really have to be mentally strong and learn how to take criticism, but also I think the biggest thing is turning that criticism and the doubt from others and stuff to drive you. And you need to play for something, whether it be your dream of playing in the NHL and making your family proud, making your people proud. So you have to find that thing to have in your heart, because it's tough to stop pucks for every day in and day out. The pucks, a lot of people don't know, they sometimes hurt. Most times the padding doesn't protect everything. So you have to be mentally strong. And played my minor hockey in Wetaskiwin. I don't think I was ever one that I was a smaller goalie. My development was late. I didn't grow until I was 19 or 18 years old. So I was always a small goalie, known as a small goalie and athletic, and relied on being an athletic goalie like Jonathan Quick. And, I looked up to my brothers. They're all older, and just playing street hockey with them and watching their games. That was probably one of my favorite memories, is being with my dad and driving all over to watch my older brothers play. One particular memory is watching my brother Houston Buffalo, and he ended up being he was the last cut at the Prince George Cougars main camp. So he went from, getting a tryout to playing exhibition games, and just seeing him play in Red Deer, seeing the big bus. I always, wanted to do that. And, as a late developer, that Western Hockey League dream day wasn't knocking on my door. So I knew my parents really instilled in me the importance of education and hard work. And my mom, growing up in the school, she was a principal and teacher and guidance counselor. So, I had that aspect, being in the schools, really learning what teachers do and educators and the importance, that they have in kids' lives. And my dad, he was a elected leader, but also a leader, non-elected leader, and in our community. And so he talks a lot about sovereignty and wellness. And so, I've learned a lot from him, and in terms of visualization and seeing what you want in life, and creating pictures of what you want in life. And that's one of the main things that I try to pass on to the youth, is that lesson, that tool to really visualize visualize everything. I visualize everything in my life. And so when I was I was trying to play AAA hockey, trying out in the areas, and never really made. I always got cut, and it wasn't until my midget third year. And as an Indigenous player, I always knew, you don't see many of us making that AAA team. That AAA team's a hard door to break, to open, and especially not being from the community. So there's a lot of barriers there, and I was able to finally. I was able midget third year, so I was 17 years old. So I think that's when my career actually, started started, doors started to open up then, and I made that AAA team in Leduc, played in the Max Cup in Calgary, and took over the starting job, and started to get interest from junior teams. And I had a team pretty much. I was kind of one team from each league that I was kind of interested in playing for, and they were interested in me. And I really went to all the camps, and Flin Flon was the one I felt the best connection with coach. So I chose the coach, and yeah, I went to Flin Flon in 2000, just after graduation. I graduated in 2011, so I was there till 2013, I believe.
Mhm. Hmm. That's pretty cool. It's I mean, just hearing what you have shared, it doesn't happen very often. Back in the day, I mean, I'm a few years older than you, but if you were a small goalie, I mean, myself, I was a goalie, and we would go to Beardies and go to inter squad game, but it was just you're too small, to make it late. I know a lot of young people, they see, or even in these indigenous tournaments here, they go on, they see that, okay, this person played for this team. But tell us a bit about how much work you got to put in. You just shared with us how hard it was to get past these barriers and keep going through mentally as a goalie. It's tough. I remember for myself, if I didn't tap the post, I would think I'm going to get scored on. And if I did get scored on, it was because I didn't tap on the post or some kind of ritual, you know what I mean? But then to make it to play junior hockey and then to go on to college, tell us how much work that is, and to stay focused, to keep on that path to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, for sure. I think the focus is key in hockey, right? To be to always put yourself in the best situation. There's many times growing up, whether the crowd you're hanging out with, or you know role models around you, and kind of where you put yourself. You have a choice of where you are and what you do every day. So if you're continuously putting yourself into kind of the wrong situations, sooner or later, your luck's going to run out. And so I felt with great parental support, I was able to keep my head on, you know, straight, and putting myself in the best situation, because you never know when that opportunity is going to come. So you have to be always ready, and you know, there can't be anything kind of keeping you back from taking full control of that opportunity. And when you talk about your rituals and stuff, it's interesting. I was thinking about it today, and um, how, like, being a goaltender, it can be tough. And I remember playing big games, right? Playing at Dartmouth and getting my chance. There's a lot that goes into games, right? You see, the higher you go up, then you never really think about it as a goalie. The fans coming out, the pressure of, well, you probably do think about it, but you try to keep it out. But people buy tickets to watch, people spend their night coming to support you, and your players. There's a lot on the line, and for a goalie, you have to be ready for that, right? Before the game, I would always look at kind of when I'm doing my routine, I would look at the beam, the structure. I would, like, just lay there, kind of meditate, and just look at the ceiling. And I would just, it's a game, right? Anything, you don't know the future, right? You don't know what's going to happen these next 2 hours. And you can either let it consume you, and you could go out there and get lit up if you're not ready. And then you let your players down, the parents, community, like it can be a lot of pressure. But I would always lay there and just focus, visualize my game, and just know, like, you know, in a couple hours it's going to be over, right? You're just going to be going home, everyone's lives go on. But in those 2 hours, you can kind of create what happens. And that's how I always viewed it. Like, you can literally put your foot down and give it everything you get, and you could cut, you could be the difference that night. It's not all the times that you did the difference, but that's how I approach games. Is like, a goalie has the power to win games. I really believe that. And so I would approach every game like I could be the guy. This could be the night that I do what it takes to get this win. And, in a couple hours, you kind of paint that picture and you have the power to go out there and stop every puck if everything goes right. So, and then in 2 hours, everyone goes home and it goes on. Like, it's kind of an interesting idea, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of interesting you mentioned that too. The old legend Jacques Plante said, how would you like a job where, every time you make a mistake, a big light behind you turns on and there's thousands of people, booing on you. That's a lot to take in for a young guy, especially when you come from the res and then now you're in the big city, very foreign to you, and playing in front of thousands of people. What was it like there, to go to college and to juggle both hockey and school, and get through that, and just tell us a bit about how it was.
Yeah, I was terrified to go to university after 3 years playing junior, not touching a pencil, not keeping your mind going in the books. And so to go to a Dartmouth, pretty pretty academic school, I was terrified and I didn't know what to expect. And the night before I boarded my plane, there was that doubt that crept in my mind that I don't belong there. I don't, all that doubt kind of overwhelmed me, and I wasn't able to sleep. It was 3 a.m. packing my bags, and I just broke down to my mom, and I just told her all my fears, like, what if I don't know anyone over there, kind of thing. And the next day, I just had to let that out, I believe, and get it out. And the next morning, I boarded that plane, and it's interesting. That was the first time I flew alone, and I had no idea what, it wasn't just like it took me to Dartmouth. I had to fly to Boston, get off the plane, find, go through customs, like all these things that usually I never had experience with, and had to show my visa, for school and what I was doing in the States, and catch the bus, and finding the bus, making sure I had a ticket, like all these little things, and got myself on the bus. But driving to Dartmouth was beautiful. It's right, New Hampshire Appalachian Trail, right on the border of Vermont. So during the late summer, it's a beautiful time and the most green. And driving through those valleys, I was excited. And then getting dropped off at school, then that overwhelmed again, not knowing what to do, not knowing anybody. But that's what made it exciting, I think. And after doing that, right, pushing myself to get out of my comfort zone, I think that's the biggest thing, getting out of your comfort zone, what you're used to, trying something new. And you know going to school where you don't know anyone across the continent. I guess it was scary, but when I look back at it now, that feeling is something that I've like wanted to feel, like, it's something that was exciting in my life. And just getting to navigate that was amazing. And tough, really tough at first. I struggled in the classroom, I struggled on the ice. We have three goalies. I was a third goalie, third string, didn't travel with the team, pretty much was a practice goalie. And you know it's all about how you look at things. And I just kind of wanted to believe that one day I would play, and one day I would get an opportunity, and just to be a good teammate. And that eventually I eventually got that opportunity to
Mhm,
play.
mhm. Good stuff. Good stuff. Did you win a championship while you were there?
No, the first year, I believe, when I was a third string goalie, we actually ended up 1 point. So we're in the East Coast, not East Coast, but ECAC is our division. So there's a bunch of divisions in NCAA Div One. I believe there's like 62 teams or something, and they're all regionally divided. So we're in the ECAC, so we have all the Ivy League schools, and then we have a bunch of schools like Quinnipiac, RPI, um, Colgate, and a couple others. So how the Ivy League championship works is like the highest Ivy League team wins that championship, and then you go into playoffs for the ECAC. So we were actually 1 point away from winning the Ivy League championship, which would have been cool to have a ring for an Ivy League. So that was too bad we didn't win that one. But then the next few years we didn't. No, there we always lost to Harvard. Harvard had our number, and my senior year, that's who we lost to. With Adam Fox was on that team, so it was tough to get by him.
Mm-hmm. You know, and it's one thing to get a ring, but you finished college there. You know, that's an Ivy League school. That's not something everybody gets into. So good for you, you know, for doing that. That's a big accomplishment in itself. You know, sports is one thing, but education is something I'm learning. You know, 31 years old, I decided to go to university. And so, yeah, you know, after that, professional hockey. But, you know, what I really wanted to talk about today was Wanska, get up, rise up. You know, tell us a bit about this new hockey camp or sports camp that you started after you know, all the smoke settles from being a superstar, and you know.
Yeah, when I got back from Dartmouth, um, few people asked me to speak at events, and I was terrified of public speaking. At school, I think I lost all my confidence, you know, speaking in front of other students, and um, so I wasn't comfortable talking in front of people, and so I turned down many opportunities to kind of tell my story, and the requests kept coming, and talking to my parents, talking to my dad, I knew my story, could inspire people. So I think I had an obligation. I felt an obligation to kind of learn how to tell my story and how to learn. It was something. It was definitely um, a skill, I guess, that I had to develop, and the only way to develop that was to speak. So my dad is a public speaker. He's a wellness guru, and he goes to communities all over and works with people. So, he invited me on the road one summer to go talk at all his talks. He would give me a few minutes to get my confidence up. And the first time was in northern Alberta, and it was at a horse agriplex. And so very, not a typical speaking venue, but I was in the barn and people were on the stools, and there's probably only like 6 people. And my dad wanted me to speak for 5 to 10 minutes, and I probably said my name and where I'm from, and that's all I had. And so from then all the way, a few more. By the end of the summer, I was speaking in front of a school. So I was able to overcome that fear. I still get nervous and still get that. It's a lot of energy, and you know what? I started to wonder. When you get nervous, you get that shaky. Like I started to look, think about that, and that was I feel like that's just energy. That's just the energy in you to it's like you have to embrace that energy. It's not something that should keep you fearful, feared of speaking in front of people, because I feel, when I was speaking, even introducing your name in a circle, right, you feel that pressure getting to you, and then it gets worse and worse. But you know what, I notice I just have to embrace that energy. It's just that energy. And even walk in while I talk. Just recently I did a talk in front of a graduation talk in front of like 2,500 people. That was the biggest. I went from 200 to 2,500. So that was the first time I actually was at a podium. Before I like to talk walking around, but this is a podium, and I finally was able to conquer that. But so when I wanted to give back, to the Indigenous people, and really motivate, I think that was one thing, to give hope and motivate, tell my story. So that naturally I became speaking to schools, but also I wanted to do goalie camps, talking to leaders. I wanted to, we all know when it comes to native tournaments, the youth ones, it's tough to get Indigenous goalies, right? A lot of communities have to reach out because they don't have Indigenous goalies in their community at that age. So we all know in Indian country and Indian hockey that there's a need for Indigenous goalies, but yet we don't see many camps out there for us. So I know growing up, I never went to a single hockey camp. growing up. I think when I got to junior high, I worked with a goalie coach. And then when I was in junior hockey, I worked with goalie coach. So other than that, I never had those opportunities to, go to these camps and learn. And when I went to Dartmouth, that was the first time I, somehow I went through junior hockey, not knowing really how to take care of myself in stretching and working out and stuff. And it wasn't until Dartmouth where I, started to see how serious it was. And I think that's a lack of, there's role models. We have a lot of role models, and even more now. But at the time, I think I really needed that guidance of seeing every day of what it takes to, get high and, to be a pro is what they say. And so I think it was almost like a shock when I got to Dartmouth and then it went to pro hockey. So that's something I want to just share with the younger goalies and to develop the position. I think talking with leaders, a lot of our goalies have to go try out for teams, and it's tough for them to stick it out, right? It's easier to kind of be like, okay, I tried it. I'll be a player where I'm guaranteed ice time kind of thing. And because most teams have 2 goalies, and once you get to college, sometimes 3 goalies. So it's always, I remember right from novice having to deal with that, playing with the other goalie, competing with the other goalie, getting cut for other goalies. So it's never going to go away. So I had to really work on that. And so these goalie camps were a way to kind of build up our numbers in Indigenous goalies. And I couldn't do it alone. I realized that, and I reached out to my buddy Roddy Ross and Jamin Cardinal, who was at the time with the U of A Golden Bears. So Roddy Ross was playing Western Hockey League Regina Pats, and so I knew if I was able to work with them, it would just elevate this goalie camp to a different level and bring these tools to our youth, our Indigenous goalies. And we did a couple camps last summer, and we're hoping to do a lot more this summer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very good. A lot of good things. A lot of goalies, I guess, Indigenous Indian goalies. They kind of get thrown in there. That's how I started, and that's how you started. And it'd be good, man. I mean, this was the early '90s for me, where stand-up goalie was kind of going away into slowly. So I was at the end of the stand-up goalie stuff into the butterfly. So I had a few, but nothing, right? Like, and getting cut and dealing with that stuff, that is very important to talk about in these camps. That when a camp happens, how many days is it, and what happens during the camp? I've seen some videos and pictures of that, but there's some off ice stuff, on ice stuff. What all happens during Wanska sports camps?
Yeah, I want Wanska, the Wanska goalie camps to be kind of an all inclusive, where you're getting kind of everything in it, not just an hour on the ice time kind of thing. We want it to be an experience and to bring everything we know or we've learned to the table, such as, we do the on ice, we do off ice classroom sessions, where I speak. One of them, we had my dad speak at one of them. So it was nice kind of to have younger goalies really get the tools that I've, growing up, I had. I was taught at a young age, 10 years old, how to visualize from my dad. So visualization, I always talked about it growing up, and no one, not many, I don't think I brought it up many times, and no one really understood it. Now it's becoming, professional athletes and athletes everywhere really do see the power in visualization, and it's not a new thing, right? But it's just more people are getting on board with it. And so we do visualization workshop. We do Jamin studies kinesiology at the U of A, so he brings his experience with off ice stuff. So I have off ice stuff that I learned at Dartmouth. Roddy has off ice stuff, and Jamin has off ice stuff that we kind of put together and create a program for the kids and run them through that. And we partnered with when I was at Dartmouth, we worked with a mobility specialist, and using yoga bands and and using rollers and using a lacrosse ball. So all this stuff that I learned at Dartmouth, I partnered. She was able to help us out. The same lady that helped all our Dartmouth students out. She was able to create a video for us, and we played that and worked with the lacrosse ball and a yoga band and meditation. So, all this stuff, we're trying to put it all into one experience at a goalie camp. And I've all three of us have many of ideas how to build it, keep building it, and there's many things that I want to expand, I guess, and make it even a bigger and better experience.
Mm-hmm. It'd be cool to see it maybe even all across Canada. You never know. How many days is a camp? Is it 1 or 2 days, 3 days?
We hope. Last year we did weekend camp, so this year we're gonna, just because of everyone's busyness, right? Roddy trains and works, so Jamin works, and so it's hard to take off weeks, So we try to do weekend camp. So a Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, or just Saturday, Sunday. We're trying to do more of an elite one elite camp this year, where so the other camps are focused on our community, building with the and developing current goalies, trying to introduce this position to new goalies, and we're still working with the league goalies, but or like the older goalies. Now in the future we would want to have a focus group with the older goalies, so we can really even go more in depth with them. So that'd be nice to do like a 5-day camp or 4-day camp, but really it's up to the community and what they want, and we're kind of flexible in creating kind of a custom kind of thing for each community or team.
Mm-hmm. Cool, good stuff. Where do people, hopefully people hear this and they can reach out to you. Where can they find Devin Buffalo? Is there a number or Facebook page that you have for Wanska?
Yep, for sure. We have Wanska Athletics on Facebook and Instagram. Our website's www.wanskamentality.com. So, we just updated that page. So hopefully people check out the website and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Everything, all the news is, I slowed down during the school year, but starting to pick up more posts and keep everyone updated in what we're doing.
Cool. Yeah, there we have it. Wanska Athletics on Facebook. At anybody who is looking for a hockey goalie camp, you can get in touch with them. Or even if they want to sign up, for an event that's or a camp that's already booked.
Yeah, for sure. We'll be releasing some news about some, planned camps that we have around the areas of, Saskatchewan, Alberta. So we're working on that, and if we're always looking for more stops. So if communities want, to reach out to us, and also speaking, I love to go to communities and tell my stories. So there's that too.
Mm-hmm. Cool, good stuff. Are a lot of your camps right now scheduled for mostly Alberta?
Um, it's still being planned. So um, once I know more, we'll be releasing that info on the pages.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I guess some kids are still in school. I know my daughter's done tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, if anybody wants to get a hold of Devin, go check out Wanska Athletics on Facebook. And yeah, I want to touch on one more thing there. You've come back from playing pro hockey and entered the Indian hockey world with PBCN and did pretty good there. Tell us a bit about playing. What it's like to go from Ivy League to good old Indian hockey.
Yeah, you know, after kind of looking back at my career and whatnot, having that time to focus on things I've learned, and one of the biggest things was playing in front of people, playing in front of crowds and whatnot, and if there's a difference and kind of that area. And I realized that as a goalie, I think that's what I love the most about being a goalie, and I still love that feeling of winning, winning a game, putting all your energy and heart into a game, a single game, and if you come out on top, that feeling, it's kind of a feeling I can't explain, and that feeling doesn't, for me, I really, it kind of I realize that it's still there. It doesn't have to be in a professional setting or at a college building, or I still have that same feeling when it comes to Indian hockey, and that's why I love playing Indian hockey, is winning in that feeling. And it was nice to get some wins with the PBCN team this year. Um, we're lucky enough to get to win Senators Cup, and then the next week win the Battleford tourney, and then and then the Flying Dust tournament. So it was nice to do that. And then Freddie, it was nice to you know, I think we wanted to see if we could win that big one, and things didn't line up, though. It didn't go as what we planned, but the final game on Sunday, we were able to play Roddy Ross and in the Canoe Lake, so we had a good battle with them that Sunday morning against Roddy, and it was fun to play against him. That was the first time we met up in a tournament, actually, or it was actually the second time, I believe. But in the a big setting like Freddie, it was pretty cool, and he shut us out, and and it was he played awesome that game, and kudos to him, and I look forward to playing him against him again, and I always look forward to Indian hockey. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody, we're all famous in a small town for sure. When it comes to Indian hockey, you got nations, different nations coming from everywhere, especially Freddie. You've played a few tournaments there, and what was the moment where, you just kind of, this is a proud moment, I guess, for you during any of those tournaments where you experience being around so many indigenous people and having that support and from fans you don't even know, and just being in that moment.
Yeah. So the one thing I would say is that proud feeling this year was, it was awesome to win the Senators Cup tournament. Leading up to that one, in the past, Indian hockey is a lot different for a goalie. And, when I was younger, I didn't win many, and it's hard to win an Indian tournament. And, it's frustrating almost to be playing, good hockey in the winter seasons. And then when springtime comes around, trying to play the Indian tournaments. And many times I got lit up and wasn't able to adapt. And so, this year was really the first year I was able to get a few wins, and it felt really good. And in particular the Senators Cup one, that one's a hard one. That's a big tournament. A lot of good hockey players go to that tournament, and that was a good weekend. Our team really played good, and we played from the net out, right? They had confidence in me, I had confidence in them, and I make a save, and I knew I had the defense there, and we had to score a couple of goals. And in the final against Sandy, that's what we did. We just kind of waited, played strong defensively, and scored when we had opportunities. And that was kind of the way we kind of felt like that's how we were going to win, is like played from the net out and take our opportunities when they come. And we, at Freddie, I know it was an awesome feeling. I think that was the first time it was just such a good community feeling, seeing all the teams and players, skating by players. And even during the play, that was the first time I had many players. It was kind of funny. Like many players were just like, attaboy, like, like we're playing against each other, and they're just so supportive, and, good save, bro, good save. And, that kind of, I felt like that was a weekend where everyone was just like, happy to be playing in Freddie. And it was almost like, it was still obviously competitive, but it was I think it was different this year. It was like more supportive with all the players. Things in the things could happen out in the crowd, in the stands, and but as players, I think a lot of the players respected each other, and really just support each other. Middle of the play, oh, good save, good save. Like, I was like, you're trying to score in me, yet you're saying it was a good save. But yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Good stuff. I only made it to a couple of games in the first day. I had to travel, but a lot of these tournaments, there's that Cody Peterson. He's always trying to take every goalie's head off, but I don't think his shot is that hard at all. I've played with him my whole life, but what do you think there, Devin? It's just a crazy shot. He thinks it's a real hard one, but I don't think so.
It's funny. Yeah. I a few years ago, I finally played against Cody, and I remember he always brings up Oscana Cup where he had like 4 goals on me or something, and I think at that point I was like, all right, we're done, and but I think after that tournament, it kind of became something in me. I was like, no, I'm not going to let him score. Like I really wanted to shut him down, and that's how I kind of approach every game against him. PD's one I love playing with him, and playing against him. I always know what team he's on, and I know I have to be ready for his shot. I think a lot of goalies don't expect his release, and I love the way he plays. And it was funny. We played I in a few northern tournaments a couple of years ago. I was able to shut him down, and then the very next tournament, he would get a couple on me, and so we kind of go back and forth. And I think he's one up because in Red Deer he played on Boucher, and they won the big Red Deer 22 grand. And he was playing with Jesse Dudas and Wasey Rabbit, Judd Blackwater. So they had a pretty stacked team, and we met up we in the A bracket. We lost to them in a shootout, and so we went down to the B. We made the finals, and I think it was like a 4-1 game. So I know he got a couple at the end, and I know he was still. I think it was like 4-1, and it was like 5 minutes left, and he was still cherry picking. He got a breakaway, and he scored. I could just hear him, woo, cheer so loud. I'm like, you already got the win, man. Like, So I think it'll be interesting next season. I can't wait to play against him again.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Well, it's always fun to be around Indian hockey. I miss it, but one day maybe I'll get to coach or do something there next year, Freddie. But like I said, the camaraderie of going around and seeing all your old buddies, it's always good to see. But Devin, I want to thank you for joining me here this evening and sharing your story, but most importantly what you're doing with One Ska, and hopefully people reach out to you after they see this. And what is a message you'll leave for the young people all over the north, that to keep going and to deal with the struggles, and just to have hope to move forward?
Yeah, the one thing would to be, so there's two things. One would be to 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 not be isolated in your emotions and feelings, to reach out. There's a lot of hockey players and past hockey players that have been through the struggles, and um, you can often find them on social media these days, Facebook, Instagram, and I don't think there's any of them that would turn down a message, right, of a youth reaching out to them and speaking to them. So I get busy sometimes, and players get busy sometimes, and sometimes in the social media the requests go somewhere else. So sometimes it takes a while to get back to some messages, but to be persistent, ask questions, be curious, I think is huge. I think Wanska, a big part of it. I love the name that's attached to it. I wanted a meaningful name, right? I know my dad's like, I didn't know this, but Wanska, right? Wake up and rise is more of the physical. I thought I was kind of combining the two. He says Wiscombe C is the awareness, and I was kind of imagining Wanska also meant, the awareness. But um, so yeah, that's just the awareness of yourself and your dreams and goals. To don't let anyone stop your dreams and goals, right? You know, work for them, um, and to raise that bar for yourself, right? I think putting yourself in a situation that kind of raises that bar, where you're raises that your expectations of yourself, and you don't get that by just staying idle. Take opportunities, put yourself out there, make be uncomfortable in situations. And one story would be when I was at Dartmouth. My first exam I got like a 72%, and I was like, oh, not bad, not bad, like pretty pumped about it. And I go to the dressing room, and that's all they talked about. And I'm like, what? It flipped all those stereotypes of hockey players upside down, right? In juniors, there's a few smart guys, in the books, smart in terms of like their grades and stuff on junior teams. But when it comes to college, you don't really expect that. Everyone on my team was talking about that they got A's, they got 95%. They were mad they got, 2 questions wrong on this exam. And so they got a 92%. And I'm like, oh my God, they asked me, Buff, what'd you get? And I'm like, same. So yeah, I really, I faked it until I made it. But being in that, I wouldn't have, been able to do that unless I was in that dressing room, unless I was in that environment that really rose that bar for myself. Why can't I do that? Why can't I be the one that gets those grades? Or, so those expectations of myself went with that. And I really worked at that. And just by being around there, you see people, you see how they, hold themselves and hold themselves accountable and what they do. And just by being around that, then it rubs off on you. And I was able to learn a lot. And so I would say to, be careful of your surroundings, surround yourself with people that, work hard and and to work hard in school. I really do believe that if I didn't have good grades, I wouldn't have been far in hockey. My career would have stopped in midget. And my dad always emphasized the grades, and my mom. And so I knew if I wasn't going to be the best goalie, I was going to be, a well-rounded goalie with good grades. And that really opened up many doors, including the Ivy League. So I was able to accomplish that dream.
Good stuff. Be curious, have hope, all that good stuff. Yeah. Once again, Devin, thank you for coming here and sharing your story and, a positive message, positive vibe for young people all across this nation, whoever is going to share this and pass it along for people to watch. But must see Choner Usiu, and I know this is a Dene show, but it's good to bring people here to bring hope for young people in the north that might not have a chance to see this. So must see show, Devin, and maybe in the future after some of your camps we can do this again.
Must see Cho. Hey, yes, I really appreciate the invitation. I love what you're doing with the podcast. Your introduction was very beautiful, and I just respect that so much. So thank you.
Must see show. Alrighty, salute inakui Devin Buffalo Adila, all the way from Samson Cree Nation that lives in Edmonton. If you're looking to reach out, go to Wanska Athletics. It is there on the ticker on Facebook and Instagram. Reach out. You can for any updates. You can see the upcoming camps that are coming up. They'll be posted shortly, Henila. And I think it's always good to bring people on. I know Dene, I don't understand Dene Yati and Dene language, but just for give people the opportunity. It might be a I know they went played Slave Lake Ice Dogs as Hanad deal. They might need that little push. So Nezula don't do Dene and I want to thank people. I want to thank the audience, the listeners that come out and listen and keep the show going. It's not easy. Some days, you wonder, and then you get a message saying, "Okay, good stuff. Keep going." We got to keep doing that with each other. So, it'll be good. So yeah, understand. I really appreciate all of you. And then I'll be live tomorrow morning again, 10 a.m. You can join me with Rosalie Tassani Bersetha, Hatchet Lake, 30 years plus, teacher, principal, all that stuff, language advocate, doing it. We seek another, a lot of history. I met her a few times and really cool to listen her. So, Dene Yati 10 a.m. Join me once again, Dene Yati podcast. And yeah, Masicho, Teo Tesu, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. See Willis John via Hushe in Telas towards the Lalosh, Saskatchewan. Clearwater River Dene Nation band member, the Hislio, and I'm in the Treaty 4 territory. Masicho. Have a good night, Salutina.